You won't hear this on the news, but when the grid fails, your neighbors will become your biggest threat. Within just 4 hours of a blackout, crime rates in urban areas spike by over 220% according to NYPD data. By 24 hours, looting begins. And by day 3, it's not about want, it's about need. I'm David. I've lived through 4 blackouts, 1 evacuation, and watched good people turn savage for a can of ravioli. Forget what you think you know. They're not just coming for food, they're coming for the things you never thought to hide. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what looters steal first, and how to disappear before they show up at your door. Starting from number 10, and counting down to the stuff that'll get you killed if it's visible. Let's get into it. Number 10. Spare fuel. Gasoline, diesel, propane. Think about this for a second. Every prepper knows fuel is essential, but most folks grossly underestimate just how fast it becomes a hot commodity. In America, when the grid dies, gas pumps go down with it. Without electricity, they can't operate, not even manually. During Hurricane Katrina, 75% of fuel stations in the affected areas were either damaged or without power. And that wasn't a total grid collapse, that was regional. Now imagine national. Within 12 hours, every jerry can in your garage becomes more valuable than your gold jewelry. No exaggeration. And here's the terrifying part. Looters know this. We're not talking about the guy stealing a Snickers bar. We're talking about organized thieves who show up with siphons, bolt cutters, and fuel bladders. In 2021, California officials busted a crew that had siphoned over 10,000 gallons of fuel, not from tankers, but from homes, trucks, and private stashes. They had blueprints, tools, timing. They weren't improvising, they were hunting. What most Americans don't realize is that fuel isn't just for cars. It's for generators, cooking gear, water pumps, and yes, even makeshift heating. During the Texas freeze, propane tanks were resold at 5 times their value. People were literally mugged at gas stations when word got out they had reserves. I know a guy who had 20 gallons siphoned right out of his truck, parked in his own garage, because he left a vented window cracked. So how do you hide it? First, stop putting gas cans in your shed. That's the first place they'll look. Store fuel in fire-rated cans buried in camo totes, under junk wood, or behind old lawn furniture in your yard. Paint the cans to look like pool chemicals. Second, decoy fuel is a real thing. Keep one rusted half-empty can in a visible place. The real stash, sealed tight, hidden deep with stabilizer added. Label it used oil, hazardous, because once the blackout hits, fuel is life, and everyone's coming for it. Number 9. Tools, especially manual and multi-purpose tools. Nobody ever talks about tools until they desperately need one. But let me tell you, in a blackout, when the power grid's fried and the digital world collapses, hand tools become king. Screwdrivers, crowbars, hatchets, pry bars, wrenches, bolt cutters, they go from garage clutter to life-saving assets. And if you've got quality gear, that Milwaukee drill or DeWalt set you never thought twice about, that becomes a goldmine for looters. What makes tools such a prime target is their utility. They're not just for repairs, they're for access. Breaking in, breaking out, building, fixing, securing. In the aftermath of Hurricane Ida, dozens of cases were reported where looters used stolen tools to break into homes more effectively. That's right, they stole a crowbar from one garage and used it to crack the next 5 houses on the block. This is why your tool cabinet isn't just a convenience, it's a vulnerability. And here's a stat nobody talks about. After the 2011 Joplin tornado, over 40% of post-disaster looting involved tools and construction supplies, not food or water. Why? Because the smart ones know. With the right tools, you can access everything else. Tools are the key to every other kind of theft, and that makes them incredibly valuable. So how do you protect your gear? First rule, don't store them in the original cases. That pristine black and yellow box screams valuable. Ditch it. Wrap them in rags. Store in mismatched bins. Hide power tools inside broken vacuum cleaners, old computer towers, or even hollowed-out HVAC housings. Hide hand tools in ammo cans labeled scrap metal. Scatter them. Diversify. Because if someone finds all your tools in one place, they've just hit the jackpot. And keep one visible decoy. A rusty screwdriver set. A busted hammer. Let them take it and move on. Because the real stuff, that's your lifeline. Number 8. medical supplies, and over-the-counter meds. This is the one that always gets overlooked until someone's coughing up blood and you realize Walgreens isn't coming back online. In a full-scale blackout, your medicine cabinet turns into a pharmacy gold vault. Bandages, antiseptics, painkillers, antibiotics, even things like foot powder and burn cream. These aren't nice-to-haves. They're essential survival tools that quickly become impossible to replace. Here's what most Americans don't understand. 80% of the world's acetaminophen is made in China. The vast majority of our antibiotics? Imported. And if the grid fails and global shipping halts, like it nearly did in early 2020, guess what? We're dry. We're already seeing pharmacies nationwide with back orders on common meds. Now imagine that after 72 hours of blackout, hospitals overwhelmed, ambulances offline, and you, sitting on a bottle of ibuprofen and neosporin like it's pure Colombian gold. During Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, emergency responders documented over 300 preventable deaths from infections, untreated asthma, and diabetic crashes because medicine simply ran out. In a blackout, every bottle of pills is worth its weight in silver, and looters know this. Organized raids in California in 2020 hit not just pharmacies, but private homes suspected of having medical stashes. EMTs were followed, targeted, robbed. So how do you defend your stash? Rule number 1. Don't keep it in your bathroom. First place anyone looks. I stash my meds in food packaging. Old cereal boxes, hollowed peanut butter jars, even inside Mylar bags labeled pet food additive. Painkillers go in Altoid tins, sealed and marked nails. Medical tape and gauze, rolled inside old wrapping paper tubes. Rule number 2. Don't advertise. No visible pill organizers. No first aid kits hanging in your mudroom. Keep one visible decoy. Half-used Band-Aids, expired aspirin, and never talk about it. The second you help a neighbor with a sprained ankle, you've just told them you're the only pharmacy on the block. In a blackout, infection can kill, pain can paralyze, and even a single Benadryl can save a life. Or cost yours, if someone else wants it more. Number 7. Communication gear. Radios, walkie-talkies, satellite devices. Let me say this loud and clear. Whoever controls communication in a blackout controls the situation. When cell towers go dark and the internet dies, communication doesn't just go silent. It becomes a weapon. Radios, shortwave sets, ham gear, walkie-talkies, even ancient CBs become tactical assets, and they will disappear fast. Think this is just a theory. During the 2020 Nashville Christmas bombing, when an AT&T facility was knocked out, tens of thousands of people lost cell service for days, including 911 dispatch. That was one building. Imagine a total grid failure. No calls, no texts, no alerts, just dead air. In that vacuum, information becomes power, and looters want it. Shortwave radios let you hear emergency broadcasts. Walkie-talkies give you instant team communication across blocks. A Baofeng handheld unit with a $20 antenna can let you listen to police and fire channels in real time. You think looters don't know this? You think they don't want to monitor who's armed, who's away, who's vulnerable? Wrong. Communication gear also helps coordinate gangs, scout neighborhoods, jam signals, or pose as authorities. That's why organized looters target ham operators first. They know who's transmitting, they triangulate, and they steal or destroy the gear to blind everyone else. One Texas ham operator told me during a storm outage, his shack was robbed within 24 hours of broadcasting weather reports. So how do you protect it? First, RF silence. Don't transmit unless you need to. Second, hide in plain sight. Store walkies in shoeboxes marked kids' toys. Wrap antennas in old extension cord bundles. I keep my shortwave set in a metal toolbox labeled plumbing fittings. My satellite communicator inside a Tupperware container labeled Christmas cookie cutters. And always decoy. Keep a cheap broken radio in view. Batteries removed, static playing. If someone finds it, they'll think they've scored and move on. Your real gear should stay silent, invisible, offline, but ready. Because in a blackout, communication isn't just about talking. It's about staying alive. Number 6. Pet food and animal supplies. I can already hear some people scoffing. Really? Pet food? Yeah, really. Because here's what most Americans forget. 70% of U.S. households own at least one pet. And during a blackout, they all still need to eat. Now imagine stores are closed, supply chains are down, and shelves are wiped clean. What happens next? Desperation. People will do anything for their dog, cat, parrot, or goat. That includes looting. Here's a stat that should scare you. In 2020, when COVID panic hit, pet food sales spiked 54% in 10 days. Shelves were emptied, warehouses ran dry, and that was during a time when electricity and trucks still worked. In a blackout, pet food becomes scarce, then priceless. And if you're one of the few people who thought ahead, you're now a target, for human and animal alike. But this gets darker. Pet food isn't just for pets. In the worst collapses, think Venezuela, Kosovo, post-Katrina New Orleans, desperate people ate pet food. High calorie, long shelf life, easy to store. In fact, some FEMA emergency kits include ration bars originally developed for military canine units. So yeah, your 50-pound bag of kibble is more valuable than you think. Looters know this, and so do neighbors. Word spreads. They see you walking your dog after day 3 of the blackout, and they'll wonder, how is it still eating? That's how targets get painted. During the 2017 Puerto Rico crisis, there were actual pet food heists, people breaking into garages and sheds not for gasoline, but for Purina. So how do you protect it? Rule number 1. Stop storing pet food in big branded bags. That giant blue buffalo sack screams, "I'm a prepper." Transfer all dry food into plain food-safe buckets. Label them pool salt or mulch mix. Keep small bags vacuum sealed in Mylar with oxygen absorbers, then stash them in low-profile bins. And never store it near the front of your garage or kitchen. First place looters look. Also, never talk about your stash. You feed a neighbor's pet once during the blackout and suddenly, you're the unofficial pet pantry. Say no and you're not a friend. You're a threat. And threats, they get robbed. Pet food might seem like a luxury, but for millions of Americans, it's emotional survival. And emotional survival breeds desperation. Don't make yourself the one holding the last bowl. Number 5. Firearms, ammunition, and weapon accessories. You think your gun makes you safe. It might, until someone else wants it. More. The hard truth that gun owners hate to admit is this. In a long blackout, you're not the only one thinking about protection. Criminals, gangs, and yes, even your neighbor down the street who never liked guns before, all suddenly want one. And if they know you've got one, you're now the armory. During Hurricane Katrina, over 100 firearms were looted from homes, police stations, and stores in the first 4 days. Some were stolen in daylight. Others were taken from homeowners too weak to resist. And in California during the wildfires of 2020, law enforcement quietly admitted a surge in stolen weapons from evacuated homes. We're not talking about pistols left on nightstands. We're talking safes, cut out of walls, entire gun cabinets lifted and hauled. Here's what most people don't realize. Ammo is now more valuable than gold, per ounce. After COVID, civil unrest, and supply chain issues, the average price of 9mm ammo jumped 300% in just 18 months. That's peacetime. Imagine what happens when production stops completely. You've got 500 rounds in your closet? That's a retirement plan in a world gone dark. Now ask yourself, where do you store your gear? In the bedroom? The garage? A visible gun safe? Bad idea. Visible safes are priority targets. Thieves bring grinders, torches, or they just wait until you're not home. Even worse, some pose as emergency response agents doing firearm checks. You hand it over thinking it's official. You've just been disarmed. The fix? First, spread your storage. Never keep all your weapons or ammo in one location. I use hidden panels under floorboards, ceiling tile cutouts, and even inside gutted HVAC ducting. For ammunition, disguise is key. Sealed ammo boxes inside bins labeled old holiday decorations or cat litter. Second, don't brag. Every time you show a buddy your AR-15 collection, that mental note gets stored. And when the grid collapses, people remember who had what. Your gun isn't just protection. It's bait. Hide it like your life depends on it. Because in a blackout, it absolutely does. Number 4. Prescription eyewear and optical devices. Now this one might sound strange, until you realize how utterly dependent millions of Americans are on their vision. Over 61% of adults in the U.S. wear glasses or contact lenses. And in a blackout, that dependency becomes lethal vulnerability. Lose your glasses, crack a lens, or run out of contact solution. and suddenly your ability to function, read, shoot, drive, escape, vanishes. And guess what? Looters know it. You see, prescription glasses, magnifiers, binoculars, even basic reading glasses, they become black market essentials once the lights go out. Why? Because vision demands survival. If you can't see clearly, you can't fight. You can't navigate. You can't even fix a busted pipe or treat a wound. In the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, dozens of elderly evacuees were triaged to the back of aid lines simply because they couldn't see paperwork or respond to visual signals. Their glasses, lost, broken, gone. And here's something dark. In every long-term collapse scenario, Bosnia, Venezuela, Haiti, optical theft becomes organized. It starts with looting clinics and eye care offices, then moves to targeting anyone seen wearing high-quality glasses. I'm talking Ray-Ban prescription lenses, sport optics, tactical scopes, red dots. If it goes on your face or on your rifle, it's valuable. So how do you protect these fragile personal survival tools? First, own backups. Not just one, at least 3. One on your body, one in a bugout bag, one hidden. For glasses, I keep a backup pair taped inside a hollowed-out book, another in an old DVD case marked Veggie Tales. For contacts, solution bottles go inside shampoo containers, labeled, sealed, invisible. Second, stash optical tools like monoculars or rangefinders inside kid toy boxes, holiday bins, or fake toolkits. That $200 lens you use for spotting, don't keep it on display. Wrap it in rags, label it spare PVC fittings, and bury it behind your dryer. Finally, never let people see you change glasses or clean a lens in public. That's a signal, a tell. And in a world where eyesight equals power, you don't want anyone knowing you've got more than one way to see. Because when darkness falls, the person who sees clearly becomes the one who leads, or the one who gets looted first. Number 3, children's supplies and baby gear. This is the one that rips your heart out, because it's not just cruel, it's strategic. In a full-scale blackout, families with young children become desperate faster than anyone else. Diapers, baby formula, wipes, pediatric medicine, even toddler snacks, they all disappear within hours. And if you're one of the few who prepared, you're now the enemy. Think I'm exaggerating? In the early days of COVID, baby formula was looted from big box stores in major U.S. cities, not just stolen, raided, by organized groups, by desperate parents, by people looking to sell it at 5x the price on Craigslist. And that was with the grid still intact. In a blackout, there is no formula truck coming. There is no Amazon Prime. And your baby's cry becomes a homing beacon for the unprepared. Here's what most people don't realize. Many looters aren't looking to steal baby supplies for themselves. They're looking to control them. Like warlords in failed states hoard medicine, they hoard formula, diapers, even teething gel. Why? Because when parents panic, they'll trade anything to keep their child alive. You think someone won't hand over their last gold coin or their firearm for a can of powdered milk? Think again. So how do you protect what matters most? First, no visible packaging. Don't store baby wipes in branded containers. Transfer them to generic kitchen tubs. Wrap formula in cereal boxes, use vacuum bags, and label them dog supplements or protein mix. Second, decentralized storage. Don't keep it all in the nursery. Have a backup cache in your attic. Another buried in your backyard in a waterproof tote. A third inside a fake suitcase labeled old textbooks. And here's a brutal truth. Even in a blackout, you might have to fake scarcity. Keep a half-empty diaper pack near the front. Let looters think that's all you have. Because if they suspect you've got a full baby supply store inside, they'll come back. You're not just guarding supplies. You're guarding your future. Because in a long-term collapse, children's gear isn't just about comfort. It's about whether your family makes it at all. Number 2, refrigerated and frozen food. And the equipment that runs it. You might think, who's going to loot frozen pizza when the power's out? But that's exactly the wrong question. Because this isn't about frozen food staying frozen. It's about timing, desperation, and leverage. Here's the cold truth. Americans depend on refrigeration more than any other civilization in history. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, the average American household has 23 cubic feet of refrigerated or frozen storage. That's $400 to $800 worth of perishable food. Meat, dairy, eggs, prepped meals, all gone in 48 hours or less during a blackout. And when the blackout hits, every prepared family tries to ration what they can, while unprepared families panic. In the first 12 hours, people go door to door, first politely, then angrily, asking for a few eggs, a stick of butter, something for the kids. But what they're really doing is scouting, finding out who has cold storage, because if your fridge is still humming, if your generator is running, if your chest freezer is keeping steaks frozen, you're the grocery store now. During the 2021 Texas winter grid failure, thousands of households reported break-ins not for cash, but for freezer meat. One report from Austin detailed a crew using thermal cameras to identify homes radiating generator heat, then looting their food within hours. And during Hurricane Sandy, dry ice became a black market item, sold door to door at $100 per block to desperate families trying to keep milk for their infants cold. So how do you survive that madness? First, never store your freezer near a window or wall that leaks noise or heat. That hum, that heat signature, that's a neon sign in the dark. Second, partition and disguise. I keep an old deep freezer in the garage that's broken, visibly so. That's the decoy. My real cold stash is in a repurposed industrial cooler in the basement, insulated and noise-dampened, hooked to a battery inverter system that runs silent. No visible cords, no glow, no sound. And here's what almost no one thinks about. Hide your condiments, ketchup, mustard, mayo, all signal cold storage. If you serve a sandwich with real mayonnaise on day 4 of a blackout, you've just revealed your operational fridge, and the hungry aren't going to ask nicely the second time. In a collapsed grid, cold food is currency. It's comfort, it's health, it's survival. And if they think you've got it, they'll take it. Number 1, information. Phones, laptops, hard drives, documents, and memory. Most people think the first thing looters want is food, fuel, or guns. But that's what they want right now. The thing they want most is what gives them power in the long run. That's why in a real grid-down situation, your personal data becomes the most valuable and most dangerous asset you own. Let me explain. In a digital blackout, the world doesn't just go dark. It forgets. Social security numbers, tax records, titles, insurance data, passwords, medical files, facial ID, all the infrastructure of your modern identity, it goes silent. And anyone who holds your phone, your laptop, your cloud login, suddenly holds you. You think this is paranoia? Let's talk precedent. After the 2010 Haiti earthquake, thousands of displaced citizens were denied aid or relocation because their IDs were gone. Rebuilding a bank account? Impossible. Claiming land? Forget it. You or whoever someone else said you were. And post-collapse Venezuela? Entire networks formed around stealing, forging, or buying personal data from laptops and confiscated devices. And here's the horror story playing out in slow motion across America. Most people keep everything on their phones, their bank info, their passwords, their family contacts, their property records. If someone takes your phone in a blackout, even if they don't unlock it, they can clone your SIM, spoof your accounts, sell your identity for Bitcoin. And the worst part? In a grid-down event, you'll never be able to prove who you were. So what's the play? First, air-gap your data. That means physical offline backups. I keep all critical records on 2 encrypted USB drives, one in my bugout bag, one buried inside a waterproof capsule 10 feet from the house, both protected by AES 256 encryption and labeled as drone firmware and printer drivers. Second, kill the cloud. Google Drive, Dropbox, they'll be offline during a blackout. Don't rely on them. Download, print, secure. Third, decoy phones. Yep, burner phones. One old device with just enough data to look valuable. Leave it near your safe. Let them take it. The real stuff, that stays in an EMP-shielded pouch in a Faraday box, disguised in a file cabinet labeled warranty receipts, because in a long blackout, information is power. It opens gates, buys passage, controls people, and if the wrong person gets yours, you're erased.